There's a lot I don't get about Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. Mainly the sibling dynamic. Really just the sibling dynamic. But anyway, the show's basic premise is simple and effective. Alya speaks Russian to hide her true feelings, and her crush, Masachika, just so happens to understand Russian because of his own childhood crush. Convenient? Very. Deus ex machina. You betcha. But overall, it's a cute show with a nice romantic throughline. I want to dig into that main plot device though. The first time I saw Alya speak Russian, I was like, whoa, whoa.
I like that shot.
Because I've seen that before. Not exactly the same, but my brain immediately thought of Anya in Spy Family when I watched Masachika understand Alya's Russian. At the end of the day, these two characters use their special abilities to give us a window into the other main characters' heads. However, this is not a one-to-one comparison. They differ in meaningful ways, and I do feel like one show does it more effectively than the other. Let's start with the similarities. Before we jump in, I just wanted to say, if you enjoy the video, dropping a like really helps. As a small channel just getting started, liking and subscribing goes a long way. Thanks. Back to it. Anime commonly give the audience windows into the heads of their characters. The internal monologue is almost ubiquitous, and honestly it makes something like Princess Mononoke, which I just saw the 4K re-release recently, stand out, where dialogue is the only entry point to our characters' thoughts and feelings. What makes our two shows in question different is how they twist this common trope. Both shows still give us the stock standard internal monologues, but also use their mind readers to add an extra wrinkle. When one of the characters also has access to the internal monologue, it gives a whole new playbook of comedy, of drama, of story to pull from. The similarities between Masachika and Anya are almost shockingly plentiful. Both of them have to hide their special powers, as they are afraid of what will happen to their relationships if they are revealed. As a result, they have to use that info in a roundabout way to avoid suspicion. The source of their special attributes are both a bit convenient. They're de facto at the start of the show, not something they develop before our eyes. The little that we do learn from both is pretty sad. Anya was experimented on, and Masachika learned Russian as part of an unrequited childhood love. So that's what our two characters share. Let's talk differences now. First, the obvious ones. Masachika's mind reading, in air quotes, is bound to one person, whereas Anya can read anyone's mind. Generally, Anya's mind reading is played for a comedic effect, where Masachika's gives more push to the romantic relationship. The big difference, though, has to do with the access to information. Anya can read whatever anyone is thinking at that moment. It could be about her, it could be about Lloyd's mission, it could be about doing the laundry. The thoughts are distanced from Anya, in other words. She is a spectator to them. This is a system that gives greater emphasis on contradictions, or dramatic irony. Often, the thoughts she tunes into are ones people are trying to hide. I think it's super effective, but Anya's status as a young child who needs to play dumb means that a lot of the time, the impact of her mind reading is passive, or at best, secondhand. Not all of the time, but significant enough to be worth mentioning. Masachika's Russian proficiency is completely different. He only has access to the thoughts that Alya chooses to share, but doesn't have the gall to say in Japanese. As a result, they are almost always relevant to her relationship with Masachika. They're shared directly with Masachika, in fact. He is an active participant in the conversations he has tapped into, a complete 180 from Anya. He also has more license to act on the things that he hears, as we see with his partnership with Alya in the school election. So which of these two do I think is more effective? Honestly, both are great, so I want to say which one that I like more. For me, it has to be Masachika, and it has to do with the fluid nature of his relationship to Alya and Russian. With Anya, there's not really a path forward when it comes to her relationship to mind reading. She's going to continue to hide it, and it will get her and the Forger family into funny escapades. But how would things fundamentally change? She can't really tell her parents or anyone else. Masachika, on the other hand, already has things change throughout the first season. As he and Alya grow closer, she becomes more confident saying these things to Masachika in Japanese. He even says something to that effect on their birthday date. This fluidity is very satisfying to watch develop, and it's easier to imagine how things could change down the line. Future plots around Alya finding out Masachika understands Russian are not only feasible, but fun to think about. So while I'm not sure that Alya is my preferred show out of the two, I do like its mind-reading dynamic just a bit more. It was really fun to see two shows roll out different approaches to the same premise. What if one of the characters could understand what was going on in the other characters' heads? Both shows give well thought out scenarios and use them to comedic and emotional effect. For these reasons, they both hold a special place in the anime corner of my brain. Have you seen these shows? If not, I encourage you to check them out. And once more, if you enjoyed, liking and subscribing helps a ton. Have a great one.